Hello everybody, it's a beautiful day in Rust, although admittedly a little brisk, half undressed because of that silly helicopter wandering around. So up in the mountains here on a little frozen lake, I've got a beautiful view of the harbor and dome, but I'm getting a little cold because of that pesky helicopter. So let's talk about heaters. Anyone who spent much time in the solo and the Arctic biomes, freezing their buns off because it's kind of safe and there's a lot of nodes, they know the difficulties involved. Sure, campfires help. They'll warm me up. But it seems like I'm always accidentally running into them or straying a little bit too far out of their range. And you have to keep feeding them. And they're just more trouble than they're worth sometimes. But the May 7th Face Punch update was really good in a lot of ways. I love the night goggles, they're kind of fun. The water pumps make the automated farming a whole lot easier than it ever was before. The water purifiers open up the entire coastline. But what really amazed me was the heaters. Now it's minus 10 in here. I'm kind of cold. I can just come in here and for 200 metal frags, craft me up a heater. And I can take that, put it right here on the wall. I can actually, pretty flexible, I can put it up nice and high, put it over doors if I want to. They don't go on ceilings or floors, but I can put it on the wall and it'll give me a little flexibility because it's long. It'll stick over into the doorway a bit. I'm sure that's a little bit of a exploit we'll be using later. They fit under shelves. They don't care. So like I said, pretty flexible. And we can just drop one right here centered over this platform. And if we look at what it says it requires 3 power, and that's true. And it provides warmth in a radius when on. And this is kind of deceptive. I would expect that from here, I would have a radius, maybe a big curve of warmth. But that's not how it works. Let's wire it up and I'll show you. Power on. Turn it on and I'm no longer cold. And I'm 42% comfort. And if I stand right here, I'm at 50% comfort. What this heater does, it creates a sphere of warmth. Imagine a great big ball, a giant basketball, centered on my chest, going 1 block up, 1 block down, 1 left, 1 right, 1 forward, 1 back. This heater creates a giant sphere of warmth, 1 in every direction, starting 1 block away from it. If I go into this corner, I'm outside of that sphere and I start to get cold. Same for this corner. If I go to this corner, I'm fine, barely, and I think it's because this isn't actually in the wall, but it's sticking out from the wall just enough to pick up this corner. I leave the radius, leave the room, I get cold. Now, what I think is pretty cool is I can go upstairs and that heat radiates through the floor and the walls. And look at me, I'm outside. I'm outside my building. I'm teasing that helicopter. Woohoo! And I am warm and I am comfortable. The heater's right here underneath my feet. So this whole region up here is a comfort zone. Of course, if I leave that region, one block in every direction, I'm cold again. Let's shut him down. And we can see that this is a great thing. If you spend much time up in the Arctic in the cold, you can be miserable. And one heater, will provide a 2x2x2 area of warmth and comfort. You just have to know where it starts and where it ends and make sure that you have the coverage you need. And the great thing is, it doesn't matter how cold it is. Let's take it to an extreme. I'm naked. I'm wet. And now it's nighttime. I turn off this heater. And you'll see it gets cold. Really cold. Minus 39 cold. I turn that heater on, give it just a few seconds. I'm no longer wet. I'm no longer cold. I'm at 50% comfort and slowly healing. So, in summary, the heaters are great. They really do improve the quality of life in game. They're relatively inexpensive. 200 metal frags, only 3 power. That's only one more than a light. For the price of 2 lights, I can have one of these and not have to worry about being cold and miserable again. Now the question is, how does it work with the plants? Well, let's just look at a couple of plants we have here. We'll start with this guy. Potatoes are the most resilient. They don't mind the cold very much. This potato is at 75% temperature with 1 hardiness gene, which is bringing it up a little bit from 68. This pumpkin has 1 hardiness gene, and he's at 58 temperature. This potato is a very healthy one, 4 hardiness genes, and he's at 96% temperature. That's the same as if I was down on a beach. This is great. Corn, no hardiness genes, it's only at 53%. So let's look at these again just to remember. We got 75, we got 58, and we got 96. Let's turn off our heater. Hello. And wow, we got 75, 58, 96. No change. With no heater and pretty good overall conditions. You see we have fertilizer. The ground's a little oversaturated, but not horribly. We're looking at 100% light, 100% water, 100% ground, 75 degree temperature, 75% temperature, 58% temperature, and 96. And this guy is at 53. So let's turn on that heater again. 75, 58, 96, 53. No change whatsoever. Maybe I need 2 heaters. Let's plug in a second one just to be sure. Wire them up. Turn them on. Lots and lots of heat, right? Now notice they don't stack, they don't make area any larger that keeps you warm. You know, I'm getting cold. But how does it affect the plants? 75, 58, 96, 53. Not any help at all. You know, and that kind of sucks. I was hoping for better, but it turns out heaters will not help your planting at all. Turn them off, and your plants are going to do just as well as if they didn't have any at all. Now, honestly, I'm going to leave it on. It's cold. I don't want to die. I want to be, you know, happy, not miserable. But I only need one, and that'll keep everything going. So the moral here is heaters will not help you grow plants at all. They don't do anything for you. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know if that's what FacePlant intended. But as far as heaters helping you grow better farms, like I hear keep repeated on videos and blogs and everything else, they don't do anything. Nothing. Not for your plants. The only thing that's going to help is genetics. And as you saw, you know, 1 hardiness gene, okay. 4 hardiness genes on a potato, I'm golden. It's just like I'm growing down on the beach. Now that only works for potatoes, really. Nothing else is resilient. So even if I get one of these corn, and I think this is a super corn. No, this only has 2 hardness genes. Heat up to 64. But if I put 4 or 5 hardiness genes in a corn, I think with 5 I can get up to like 80%. So it'll do well, but it's not going to do great. You're going to be a lot better off planting down in a temperate area where you can concentrate getting your genetics maximized for yield and growth, instead of up here in the mountains where they'll grow but they'll just barely get by. You don't want to grow large farms in the Arctic hoping to get rich, you know, sell lots of corn for scrap, because the yield performances aren't enough and the growth rate is not enough. So if you just want to keep yourself healthy and happy and you want to just plant 1 planter, maybe 2, that's cool, but I wouldn't do much more up in the Arctic. And that's all I've got on the heaters. I hope you learned something from this video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.